Hello and welcome to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. This podcast takes you behind the scenes of very successful mortgage businesses across North America and shares with you the strategies, systems, marketing, and philosophies of these businesses and takes you behind the scenes of the structures of how these business owners are building such incredible mortgage businesses. Our goal with this podcast is to help you understand how to create and grow a mortgage business that makes you truly wealthy. And that includes both the money and the time that you need to truly live a life of freedom. Now, during these interviews, I look to pull out at least 3 incredibly valuable and life-changing tips from each guest, and they tend to show up near the end of each episode for some reason. So make sure you stay to the end. And when you find value in one of our episodes, please take the time to head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It makes a big impact on our ability to continue to attract top performers and give you incredible value on the show. So thank you for listening to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. My name is Chris Johnstone. I'm your host. Let's get started on getting you one step closer to wealth in your mortgage business. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. We have another phenomenal episode today. We have Brady Webb with us. Brady, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me, man. It's good to see you again.
It is good to see you too. And yeah, let's hop right into it. So you've got an incredibly successful mortgage business. Would you mind sharing with our listeners, where you started, how you got into the business, and where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. So again, my name is Brady Webb. I actually was born and raised in Kentucky, a small farming community right outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And after getting out of playing baseball and out of college, I came back, got in the financial services business, and ended up moving back. I was out of state, ended up moving back into Kentucky, but started my mortgage company actually 23 years ago after spending 10 years in a bigger bank atmosphere, corporate atmosphere. Tired of traveling, wanted to do something on my own. So in 1998, started American Mortgage Solutions. I'm a mortgage broker, and after 23 years, I'm in 5 states now. I'm in Colorado, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, and Florida. And I have an actual office in Louisville, Kentucky, where I began, and now in Cape Coral, Florida, which is my primary residence. So I kind of bounce back and forth to Kentucky to Louisville a lot. When I joined the Freedom Club in 2014, I had a couple of loan officers. I had a processor that had been with me 15 years. I had somebody that would help me a little bit, but I was mainly just doing my own production, closing not a ton of deals. I'd average that 8 to 10 deals a month, but I had a couple of LOs doing some deals and doing okay. But I wanted something different. I wanted the business. I had created myself a job, but I really wanted the business. Something that I could step out of at some point in time and still be a revenue producing company. So joined the Carl's. I went down to the War Room in 2014, December 2014. I'll never forget it. Met a bunch of great people, and I was like, I'm signing up for this. So I did, and never looked back. Now I've got actually a business that I could step out of pretty much at any time. Chris and I were talking before we got on here. He's like, I see you all over the place. And I was like, yeah, I've been doing a little too much traveling. I need to get back to focusing on my business because I'm still wanting to grow. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm just basically out of the loans. I don't do any loans. I don't take applications. I have a team of people that manage that for me. And then I focus now on development of my people, recruiting people, and still trying to create relationships with the bigger teams of realtors to help us continue our growth. So that's kind of where I'm at this point. And, it's always, you just got to keep your eye on the prize. And I guess you got to have clear defined goals of where you want to get to. You're going to have plenty of ups and downs. The little guy on your shoulder is going to step up there every now and then and say, Brady, what are you doing? You can't do that. You just got to, flick that guy off your shoulder and just go after your dreams.
I could not agree with that more. And that's, I mean, if you don't have the mindset and you don't believe that you can do it, it's incredibly difficult to make the activities happen that need to happen in order for you to get the results.
Right.
It's
Totally agree with that.
so from so let's start at December 2014. You joined the Freedom Club. You had a couple of loan officers in the business, but mainly you were responsible for processing all the business at that point. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was responsible for basically the business I brought in
Yep.
is what ran the business.
Okay.
What the loan officers were doing at that time wasn't really paying the bills per se.
Yep.
Yes, it made me some money, uh, but the in order to pay the people that were working for me and pay myself and make a living, I was responsible for bringing in all the the leads, and I was 100% referral. I mean, I was doing all realtor business, past clients and realtor business. I was not doing any online leads. I am now, but back then I was not. So, and then after joining the Freedom Club, came back, hired my first uh, DSP manager, which
Okay.
is our daily success plan manager, or I call her my client relationship manager now. And then I ended up hiring my first loan partner. And here's the thing I would say for anybody starting out business, I was terrible at hiring people. Even though I got great training in the corporate world, I just didn't do a good job hiring people. And I think we all probably are guilty of this. Somebody walks into your office or calls you and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been working in the mortgage business for a year, and I use Encompass or Calyx." You're like, "Oh my God, you're going to be perfect for this job." And we really don't look any deeper under the hood to
Yeah.
see what they might know or how good they might be. And so I've hired and fired, and people quit. And over the years, I've gotten better at it, and now I have a great team of people.
That's amazing. Do you have any specific tips for anybody on the hiring process? Does it start at the job app that you put out there? How do you qualify people? What does that look like now with everything that you've learned?
Well, part of what the Freedom Club teaches you, we, Chris, and the Freedom Club hire, and I'm actually a coach for the Freedom Club now. So I guess I've kind of graduated out of the Freedom Club and now I actually coach other mortgage loan officers for the Freedom Club. But what I've learned is we use, that Intermetrics profile. And so we do the DISC profile on people, and that's a good barometer for certain whatever job type you're hiring for. It helps you determine the person that might be a qualified candidate. But you're really, what I've learned is I've created a process that I don't deviate from. So once somebody applies, they have to do the DISC. I have a set of questions. Actually, the first email that goes out says it gives them very specific details or directions that they need to follow. And if they don't send the first email back with all the stuff that are required, like a video, they have to answer 4 questions. They do a video and they have to figure out how to get me the video.
Yep.
They send me the DISC profile back. And if somebody struggles with that part, then they're eliminated.
Yep.
And then they get through that part. Then I send them evaluation questions to test their knowledge. And that's not a pass or fail type thing. I tell them it's open book. If you don't know the answer to these questions, then go find it and send me the resource you got it from, because I want to see where they're getting their information from.
Yep.
So do they know to go look at the 4155 for HUD guidelines, or are they just going to somebody's website that might be right or might not be right? So,
Yep.
and then they get that back to me, and then we go through a Zoom interview that I test their technology skills.
Okay.
So, sometimes I would get people that had the mortgage knowledge, but they couldn't turn a computer on. They couldn't operate the software, or they didn't know how to, move files within the file system in Microsoft. So I've learned that I need to go through all 3 processes, and I don't deviate from any of that anymore. And it's helped me hire better people.
That is incredible and just that little tidbit right there is incredibly valuable for finding the right people, because I mean, people are the most important part of the business, especially when you're on the Freedom Club model and
Yep.
bringing people around you.
And one thing that you can't really interview for, and I don't know there's a test for, but is aptitude. If you can find, and I still don't really know how to identify it at the beginning, but I found that when I find people that have a high aptitude, that they can pick up on things quickly. Those make the best employees.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're always learning.
Yep.
Business is always growing. You're never going to be in the same static position, hopefully, over and over and over again. So,
Yep.
Excellent. So, your first hire was a DSP manager, the Daily Success Plan manager. What did you have that person doing initially when they started? And what did that free up for you?
So what that person was doing for me initially was setting new appointments for realtors that I did not know.
Okay.
So they were making calls and setting agents or setting appointments for me to go meet them for coffee.
Okay.
And that helped take that off my plate where I could spend more time actually working on leads or maybe following up with some of the people that I already had relationships with. So that was one of the first things she did. Then she helped me take over some of the marketing to make sure that got done on a consistent basis. For instance, the monthly flyers, the weekly email newsletters.
And
she would actually help me support the agents with open house flyers or something, whatever they might request. Back then we were doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and so she would help take care of all that and would take that off my plate.
So you mentioned a weekly email there. That weekly email, is that going out to referral partners? Is that going out to clients?
That was everybody. We send out one to everybody. Now we're a little bit more deep or I guess direct with some of that now, but if you're going to send out an email about, it could be about anything, but if you're sending about loan programs, which I don't just send loan programs out a lot, but then that would probably just go to agents. But the email would be like, what's going on around town? Or did you hear about this new loan program that came out? We send that to everybody because, everybody is a potential homeowner or needs a mortgage.
Yep. And a referral source.
Yeah, a referral source. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. All right. And then your second hire was a loan partner. And so what does the loan partner do?
So the loan partner took that person I trained to do the pre-qualifications.
Okay.
So they would actually intake the lead. So if somebody called in, say somebody called and said, hey, this is Susie Realtor, or this is Brady. Susie Realtor told me to call and get pre-approved by Brady. That person would answer the phone, or if my DSP, Courtney, she'd answer the phone. Then they would say, hey, well, Brady's on the other line, or Brady's helping another family right now. And oh my gosh, we just love Susie Q Realtor. She's the best. How did you get connected with her? You're so lucky. Well, I know Brady wouldn't want you to wait. So let me go ahead and get you started, get your information, and we'll move you to the front of the line. We just love Susie Q Realtor. So we build it, that's kind of the script we follow. And then they would basically get all the documents, get on the loan. And at that time, I would look at it, pre-qualify it, talk to them for 10, 15 minutes, make sure we're, talking over the payment and the money that we're going to need to close the file, and then turn it back over to them.
Excellent. And so you put those two people in place in the business. What did that do for your time? Because you were a broker, you were responsible for everything in the business, calling the realtor partners, calling the past customers, getting a file, doing all the paperwork, all of that. So what did that free up off of your desk? What did that do for your time freedom?
Well, it gave me a lot of my time back. I was a single dad for most of my son's 18 years before he got out of high school. And so that gave me time to spend more time with him. I coached all of his sports. I'd leave the office at 2:30, 3 o'clock, go get him from school, go to the ball field, whatever sport was in season. And it just took the, I guess, the responsibility of me having to answer every single call, be available all the time, because now I had someone to help me do that.
That is amazing.
So
and
it gave me back a lot of my time.
That's the most valuable thing we've got. And
exactly.
To see you investing it in the things that matter the most is incredible. So now you've got your business growing. without you necessarily having to be there. You've got your DSP manager setting up appointments with realtors. You're going out, she's doing the she or he is doing the Thor's Hammer calls. You're doing those appointments. So
Right.
as your business grew, where did you spend that extra time in order to grow it even further?
Well, I spent a lot of it on the boat in the summertime.
Great
No,
answer.
but I did do that for sure. But no, the extra time was spent actually trying to deepen some of the relationships that we already had, looking for other ways, doing some research and development on how to continue to grow my business and looking for more good people. So, back then again in 2014, 15, there was only, I had two people on my team, the DSP and an LP. And of course, then we had a processor as well. Now I've got three LPs. The DSP is still the same person. Well, she's not the original one, but she's been there 4 years now. I have three
Wow.
loan partners, getting ready to bring a fourth on next week, and five LOs. So that's the part I'm still growing. I've got hiring another one on Thursday, so that'll be six. And so that's where I'm spending my time now, not actually doing the intake of the leads anymore. Actually, and my LPs are responsible for maintaining the relationships with my realtors now. The buck does stop with me because I'm still, I'm the owner of the company. So I tell everybody that, but I want my loan partners creating the relationships with the realtors so that they continue to call them. It gives me the time just to go out and meet new people or find other ways to grow our business.
That's right. And new loan officers, new loan
Yeah.
processors, and building the
Mm-hmm.
systems that you've got.
Yep.
That is incredible because now you're owning the business, you're running the business, you've got all the systems in place in order for a new loan officer. So two more quick questions. So a new loan officer comes and joins your team. What processes do you put in place for them? Do they start and it's just you're responsible for your own book of business, good luck, or do you walk them through a process? What does that look like?
Okay. So we started using a couple of years ago, and we actually just did a presentation on this out in Utah. Tony Taylor and I did on Tranial. I don't know if you've heard of Tranial, but
No.
it's basically an online office manual. Train, and you can basically you put all the subjects you want in it between. You can have HR, you can have all your technologies in it. Like I use Lending Pad, Shape CRM now. You can have your pricing is in technology, your credit bureau information in there. It tells everybody basically it's a resource that anybody in my company, especially new employees, can go to and start their training process.
Okay.
The other thing great about that, having something like that too, is we send them when we have a new employee come in, we set them up with their login to Tranial. They go straight there. There's a welcome video from me. It says, "Hey, this is Brady, President of American Mortgage. Welcome to our team. We're so excited to have you. The employee documents that you need to fill out are below. So go ahead and print those out, fill those out, and get those back." So that's kind of what it does. And then the rest of the technology, you can actually set up tests in that and have them go through a series of questions and answer, and test their knowledge on certain things that maybe you want to train people on. So that's kind of where we start people. And then, when they first come into the company, of course, we spend time with them, showing them how to use the technology. We help them if they're new, they don't already have a book of business, or if they are somebody coming from another company, they have a database. First thing we're going to do is dig in and show them how to get deals out of that database.
Yes.
And if they don't have one, their phone, this is their
Yes.
database right here. And we're going to show them how to start getting deals out of the people that they already know, referrals out of the people they know, by just using the right scripting and how to ask for the business. The other thing that we do, which is one of the services you offer, is we actually generate a lot of our own leads now online. So we're able to give people some leads to actually start calling immediately. So we try to help them in both ways. And then, I have relationships already. So I could actually potentially take some of the stuff that's coming into my business and have them work on that. Because, as well as I do, the best way to learn is actually doing it,
That's
doing
right.
something. And so it's best to go ahead and get them some deals, let them work through the deals and start figuring out the technology, the process that we use to get the deal from lead to closing. And yeah, so I mean, we do have a system that put in place, and that's not always something I did have. That's something I've really worked on over the last couple of years, again, which has helped me onboard people.
Absolutely. And you touched on the most important thing in the database and starting to just ask for the business. I mean, we call it the Just Ask campaign.
Exactly.
And those scripts are super important for that. And then, touched on lead generation. And with us being, 13 years now generating online leads, I can tell you the time and effort that you're going to put into your database is going to reap a much greater reward than it is just going out and trying to do cold lead generation.
Absolutely. And Chris, you know, for loan officers coming in, they got to be, we look at for a certain profile, sales profile in that disc, but still some people just don't feel comfortable going out and trying to create new relationships. So what we teach people, there's a couple of things. One, I have a really good VA. I have two VAs, and I have now I have a VA that actually she sets appointments for all my LOs.
Yes.
And especially new ones. We'll actually pull a market. If we want to pull a certain market, we have the technology to go in and pull all the realtors in that market. We qualify them, and then she calls and sets the appointments for the new LO to go meet them or jump on a Zoom call. So that's one way we help them get off the ground ASAP. The second thing is we teach them, look, you really don't have to go out and talk to somebody you don't know. All those people, again, in your phone that these people call them. Say, hey, Chris, so who sold you your house? Oh, great. Well, can you give me her number? Is it okay if I call her and tell her you said great things about her? And I'd love to sit down and hear what makes her so successful. So you really just call the people and say, hey, I'm just getting into the mortgage business. I really need to build my referral sources. Who sold you your house? Was she good? Was he good? So we can reach out to the people that we already know, ask them for some names, and then leverage that to make the phone calls. And it doesn't feel so awkward because, hey, Chris told me to call you, said you're an amazing person. You'd be glad to help. I'd love to sit down, take 15 minutes of your time, buy you a cup of coffee, and hear what makes you so successful.
That is incredibly valuable because most people look at their database and it's like, I'm just going to ask them if they're going to need a mortgage. Most people don't need a mortgage, but to take the realtor approach on it is just brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So one final question, and man, I wish we had more time. But your life before the Freedom Club and your life after the Freedom Club, what would you say is the main difference?
Freedom. So freedom, absolutely. Not only time freedom, financial freedom, friendship freedom. I just like last week, I'm in Florida. And so I had 5 of my friends from Kentucky come stay at my house from Sunday to Sunday.
Wow.
And I barely touched the computer the entire time. Now, I like to work just because I like to work and I like to, this is exciting to me to grow a business and I like to work. And, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, you guys got to, it's time for you guys to go. I need to get back to work, but I didn't have to. And the one thing that the Freedom Clubs helped me do is I could take that week off. I was in Utah 2 weeks before that, going to Belize next Friday to spend time with some of our Freedom Club friends. So that's 3 weeks I've been gone out of 6. And the wheels haven't fallen off and we're still doing loans. So that's what the Freedom Club's given me the ability to do.
That is incredible. And thank you for sharing. Can I squeak one more question in? Do you have time for one more question? So Brady, we've known each other for quite some time with me being around the Freedom Club and yourself. And you are always fit, healthy, happy. You've come through a lot in your life and you just have this incredible disposition. So I'm personally interested in your habits. Like, what does your day look like? How are you so consistent and happy all the time?
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. So my morning, I typically get up. I usually wake up around 5. I try to go to bed around 9:30 or 10. Now, if you were here a week ago, that really didn't work out so well. But typically I'm up by 5:30. First thing, this morning I went outside. I've never been a big runner because I played sports my entire life, and I'm just not a big cardio guy. But in the last couple of months, I get out and I go run like a mile and a half, come back to the house, clean up, take a shower, check emails, and then I go to the gym for about 30 minutes every day, Monday through Fridays, all I work out. And then, so I'll go to the gym 30, 45 minutes and then go to the office. And I work, I'm in my Florida office right now. I work from my house a lot in Florida and in my home in Louisville. So that's kind of my day. And then, I'm usually done by, I can, sometimes, I'm done at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I go hang out with some friends, meet some people. And, and that's where you make a lot of relationships and relationships that are good business relationships. Right. I actually find more business outside of getting out of the office and not being in here looking at email or doing other things. So, but typically every morning I get up, go for a jog, come back, clean up, kill emails, catch up, make sure what my calendar's on for the day, go to the gym, then hit the office, work 5-6 hours and, go home. And then, typically I'll work a couple other hours, maybe if I need to follow up on some things. But a lot of it, Chris, is I'm on the phone a lot, but I'm just getting on the phone and having conversations with people I like and developing relationships, which actually turns into business.
Man, it sounds like the life O'Reilly, but that is peak performance. Doing what you love, doing it on your schedule, and moving big mountains while you do it. That's incredible.
Yeah, and what I love is not checking. I hate email. If I could get rid of email completely, which Carl would just say, just give it to somebody else. Which, I haven't been real good about that. But what gets me excited every day is talking to people like you, doing podcasts. Like I'm going to do a couple videos a day. I'm starting to get back into my my viral marketing. Not viral marketing company, but just, getting that up and going. I love doing stuff like that, doing content and just picking up the phone and calling people and seeing what's going on in their business. How can I help you? Hey, have you heard about this? So that's what I enjoy doing.
That is amazing. Well, Brady, again, thank you for being so generous with your time and being on the show. And man, I cannot wait to see you at the next event.
Yeah, you too, Chris. Bro, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on, and I'm glad to see you doing well. And you've done amazing things as well, and you've helped so many people, and you're continuing to do that. So kudos to you.
Thank you. And so one final thing, if somebody's listening to this and they're in Louisville or they're in that market in Florida and they're looking for a different option, or they just want to reach out to you and get a hold of you, how do people connect with you? How can people reach out?
So anybody can reach me. I'm going to give you my direct number. It's 502-655-0106. Or just type Brady Webb into Google and I should be one of the first few people to pop up. You can't miss this sunburnt face.
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you, Brady. Thanks. And to all our listeners, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right. See you, everybody.
Hey, it's Chris Johnstone. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I hope that you loved it and got incredible value from it. Right now, it's time to head on over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review if you enjoyed this episode. When you do, you will be entered into our monthly draw to receive an Amazon gift card. So go ahead, leave that review today. It also helps us attract top talent and really get incredible interviews lined up for you so that we can share even more value for you. Now, for the show notes and for all of the resources that were mentioned in this episode, you can head on over to loanofficerwealth.com. That's loanofficerwealth.com. You get access to all the show notes from all the episodes, all the past episodes, get notified of new episodes when they drop, and we've also got some very special bonuses for you over on that page when you opt in. So head on over and opt in today, and we look forward to sharing the next episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast with you soon.